Hey everyone, and welcome back to the X-Ring. On today's episode, we are going to talk about what I'm shooting in precision rimfire competition. It is the #1 email that I get from most of my subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me out at the channel with the analytics. So I am shooting a Voodoo V22. So that's going to be the first thing, is we're going to talk about the action so you guys can see it up close. V22. This is the bolt for it. You guys can see how the double lugs are here and the way you remove it off of this side. Next thing I want to talk about is what type of base am I running. I'm running a 20-minute of angle base. So 20-minute of angle base, but let's talk about what's up top here. I do have a spur. This spur here has 20 minutes of angle on it as well. This is the SP4601. And it gets me dangerously close, but plenty enough for my scope cap covers, and I think that's good enough. I don't like it any higher, because if I go up any higher on my cheek riser here, what I do is I set it perfectly for me. I mark it with a little Sharpie marker so I know where to go each and every time. And when I'm cleaning this, the easiest way to do it, rather than moving the cheek riser, I just loosen these two bolts and I pull them off. Now, this is the XLR JV NV Pro. I love this chassis. I actually just ordered a little timer that goes here on the side. And on the other side here, I do have the thumb perch. Some people call them gas pedals, whatever. But you can adjust the angle and you can adjust the fore and aft. This gives me a place to put my thumb on the right side, so I get the index the same way every time. It does have a built-in level here. So you can see the level. The contrast with the coolant fluid and the level itself shows really, really well to tell me that I'm level, but I don't really rely on this for level. What I rely on is the LRA. This is the long range arms digital level, and this is actually a little more precise. You can actually calibrate it, and this has the spur mount. So this is the MV3, M as in Mary, V as in Victor, number 3. They do make the one where you could mount it up on the top here. I have a couple of those, but this keeps everything nice and compact. The scope itself, I'm running the Burris XTR3. Guys, this is a great scope. I love this scope. It is a sub $2,000 scope. It is a first focal plane, and this has the SC2 reticle in mils. I do have a couple of different options on the scope caps. You can see how clear this is. The zero stop is very, very easy to set no matter how much I'm going to. You have very aggressive knobs, and I like that, especially if your hands are sweaty, your fingers are sweaty. I do have the white cap cover for this for the target board, and it does have a capped cover, but it also comes with the external cap as well. So right now I'm just running it this way. That way I'm not having to worry about bumping it. It does have the throw lever, and this is the 6.5 to 30, the XTR3, and it has a 56mm objective. I really like this optic. I've ran this optic for 5 matches, and the worst finish has been 3rd place. So it's definitely not the optic. The optic works very, very well. What I like about this chassis is it's very easy to balance. You do have a weight kit, and one goes here. You also have a full set that goes inside of here into this tube. I've removed those so that I have a perfectly balanced rifle. So I could set this up on a barricade, and I'm not fighting the rifle because it's rear heavy or front heavy. And a lot of you guys are going to say, well, what about the bipod when you take it off? It does change things. But you want to find that perfect fit where even when you change it, it doesn't take much to adjust it. Okay, so when I do this, it's going to be a little more rear heavy because I've taken that weight off of the front. I have added some weights onto the front here, but still it's pretty darn balanced. If I push into the barricade, or if I wanted to add more weights, I could, but then it's going to be nose heavy when you add the bipod. So you're never going to get it perfect whether or not you're running your bipod. As far as the data card, what I typically run is the Hawk Hill Custom. You guys can see it right there. So it's a Hawk Hill Custom data card, and it is mounted on a little Picatinny just like this, okay? So if you have enough room up underneath, which I don't, I mean, I guess you could mount it here, but then it's going to get in the way of the bolt knob. So I just placed the accessory rail on the spur. I place this here. I can tuck it out of the way. I can run it high like this. I could run it horizontally like this, and it just gives me a way where everything's in there. There's also another level here behind the spur. I've never used that in my life. I can't see it. You're not going to see it when you're behind the rifle. So technically there's 3 levels on this rifle. A little bit much. I do run a vertical grip, which works well for me. And then I also, here I do run the Trigger Tech Diamond 2-stage. I have lightened up the trigger since the last time I talked to you guys. I'm running it about 1 pound right now, but I do like a 2-stage trigger. You'll also notice you want to configure the rifle correctly for you. You'll notice that I have this canted slightly inwards where the top is in. It just fits my shoulder pocket a little bit better. And then I do have the bag rider on here. So this is my setup for the rifle. I love the setup. It seems to be working well. And then I am running the SkyPod. If you guys have seen this, this is actually the Gen 1. It can be a little high, and you do have the option here on these buttons here. I've done a full review of this to run it really wide, but then you might be on something that has a narrow stance and you can't get it that wide. So there's advantages and disadvantages. One of the greatest things is how much it cants and pans. I've got about 18 inches of legs here. I can shoot off of this bipod, off the sitting position, but the biggest thing is that 120 degrees of cant, guys. So even if you're on awkward ground, you could still get something going. Let's see here. So let's say something like this, where you're on an extreme side slope, I could still get this where the rifle's level. So that's what I'm running. I hope you guys enjoyed that rundown of what I'm running. I'm running Lapua Center X, and it seems to be working well. This rifle, just so you guys know, this doesn't have an ace barrel. It has a Bartling barrel. It is an 18-inch. It is threaded. It shoots great, but it doesn't shoot as tight as other barrels that I've seen, like some of the ace barrels. A little disappointed with that because I love Bartling, but I think the combination of how it's working, the groups are not as tight as other guys' rifles that I'm seeing, and we've swapped off and they've tried to shoot this one and same thing. And remember, the ammo that we're shooting was actually tuned for this rifle. So anyway, it's good enough. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button. We'll talk to you soon. Next match is March 27th in VOD at Old Fort, North Carolina. Guys, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.